So welcome back everyone. I've got a very exciting video for you today. We got the lithium battery installed and the first heat exchanger. This is a 200 amp hour lithium battery that just was tailor-made to fit under Mrs. W's seat right here. The lithium batteries are so far superior to the lead acid batteries. When you think about lead acid batteries, that technology is what? Well, they had them in Model Ts. It's time for us to move on. They're more expensive. That's why a lot of people don't put them in. But in the long term, that they're not. They're a quarter of the weight, roughly. They're a quarter of the size. They charge faster. You're talking 5,000 cycles. You're discharging versus 400, and you don't have these massive battery banks, and they don't vent, so you can put them inside the passenger compartment, and on and on and on. So what I did is I built a aluminum track and bolted everything in there to hold that in there. And I got a great big heavy duty ratchet type of strap in there to hold that down, so it's absolutely secure. It can't go anywhere. So here's the cool part. So this is the what do you call this thing? The remote battery switch. This is from Blue Sea. This is all marine type of quality stuff. So what this will allow me to do, it'll be a disconnect for the battery. It's got that really cool spring switch in there, and then it will hook to this little guy right here, which I'll put at the command center somewhere that's not yet been established, so that if, let's say for example, I have a dead battery on the engine, on the crank side, this will all be isolated, so I can flip this and turn this on. I can use the lithium to start the car just as an emergency backup. So that's really, really cool. The other thing is, you'll notice that this is 4 individual cells. These are 3 volt, 3 point something, 3, 6, 9, 12. And the reason why we went with the individual cells is that if one of these goes bad or comes out of balance, for example, we can simply pull it out and swap it out at a quarter of the cost of what the whole battery would be. Because that's usually what happens, is not, in a battery, the whole thing doesn't fail. One plate or one portion of it will fail, and the whole thing, it takes the whole thing with it. It's like the old, those old Christmas lights. One bulb goes out and they all go out. This way, again, we could just take and simply unplug that and put a new one in, again, for the quarter of the cost. And then we have this really cool, I don't have it hooked up yet, but this will be a little monitor that goes to the command center that will, this is a cell voltage monitor alarm. So this will tell me exactly the condition of the battery on all 4 individual banks. And if something needs balanced, or we're having a problem with something, and I'll know exactly what's going on with the battery by just looking at this little LCD monitor. So it's super, super cool. The best part though is the heat exchanger. So I'll show you how I tied all that in. Let me take you into the engine compartment here. So what I did is, essentially we're using the hot water that the engine is producing to help with that hydronic furnace. And so what I did is that this is the line coming out of the heater core here, and I grabbed onto it and I took that line off, and I spliced in a 90. So what we've got is, we've got 2 heater hoses running all the way back. There were 30 feet of it, 15 feet each way back to the heat exchanger under here, going through, heating that, and then going back and just continue. What I've done is I've extended the loop to the cooling system, essentially 30 feet. We're going to use that heat, and let's go underneath here and I'll show you why. Oh my goodness, it's going to be challenging here, but I've got this just in here temporarily, so with zip ties. I'm just testing everything out. So here you can see the 2 3/4 heater lines, and I've just started putting my clamps on. So everything will be clamped on with these nice rubber coated clamps, because you don't want hoses rubbing on stuff. If they rub on stuff, they'll get holes in them, and it's going to happen at the worst possible time in the middle of the night. So you want to make sure you do this right. So as you'll see the zip ties over there, and that was just me doing my prototyping, but that's how everything will be finished right there. Now over here, here's the cool part. This is so tight in here. So the hot water is coming out of the heater core, right? And it's coming into this Rixson heat exchanger. So it's going in here. These are a series of copper plates, and then it's coming out this way. So, and then back into the engine on the cool side. Now, if you look on top here, you'll see, maybe it's so tight. There we go. You'll see that there's another 2 more ports right there. Now what's going on here is that this engine, these are hot. These are 200, 210 degrees right now, the temperature of the engine, and that is heating up this heat sink right here. And so what's going to happen now is the S-bar, I wish I had a lift. The S-bar furnace right here is going to mount, and we'll cover this more in detail here, is going to mount right there. Okay? Right there. So that's going to be that's going to be producing all of the hot water that will come out of the jacket into this here, out of here, and up into the furnace. And the reason why we're doing this is that it's preheating all the water, so it's just giving us it's giving us 3 ways to heat the van. We can heat it with the engine, we can heat it with the electrical element, we can heat it with the S-bar unit right there. So this is I know it's hard to explain. Once we get it all put together, I'll do a better job. I'll get it jacked up where I can get the camera into here, but I wanted to give you a quick update on how all that works. But this is just working beautifully. These are hot. I had to add about an extra gallon of antifreeze to accommodate all of the hose, and this is producing. This is hot, so yeah, it's really hot. So it's just working perfectly. And then we'll get these guys all clamped up here like this, nice, so nothing's touching and nothing's rubbing, and it's gonna be really, really cool. So I wanted to give you a quick update on that. Okay, so what's next in the adventure van? So what's going to be next is I'll probably put a 15 to 20 gallon water tank, fresh water tank along here. Probably something like that. I've ordered a 1500 watt Magnum inverter charger, and that whole system will go over here, so we'll have AC power. That's what's going to hook directly to the lithium battery. So we have AC power, so we can plug in stuff and coffee maker and all that sorts of things when we go camping. Now there's some questions that have come up. 200 amp hours is not enough. I've heard a lot of statements like that. Well, it is enough for us. I'm not building this huge lumbering motorhome. I don't want that. What I have found with this thing, this transit van, is I like it so well that it's become my daily driver. I don't think I've driven my truck since I've owned it. It's just so much better in so many ways. It gets 18.5 miles per gallon. It's got ridiculous power. It's fun to drive whenever I go anywhere. I can take multiple people. We can have comfort. We have room for gear. Everything is dry inside, and then even, having the bed in the back, so in the furnace, it's just so superior in so many ways. Now, also what's going to be coming up this spring, I'm on the list to get in, so we're going to have 4-wheel drive put on it. There's 2 companies in the country that do it. One is Quigley in Pennsylvania, and the other is Quad Van in Portland, Oregon. So I'm on that list to have that done. And that's going to be, I can't wait for that. That's going to be so nice and so necessary for up in here. So with that in mind, the other thing I'm going to do is, yes, I'm going to be insulating the van, but I want to run all the electrical and all of the plumbing and all of those things first, get everything all fitted and checked out, make sure it's the way I like it. Then we can do the insulation, then we can do the nice carpeted or upholstered panels and make it a little bit warmer and cozier inside. But this is very minimalistic. I'm not interested in this huge cabinets and plywood and all that stuff and turning this thing into this huge, heavy recreational vehicle. That's not what I'm going for. I want a good furnace. I want a good solid power system. We'll have the new flexible solar panels up on top to keep the battery charged up, but just a really 4-wheel drive, a really solid rig that's not too heavy, that we can use dual roles, that I can use it for a daily driver as well as having comfortably taking 3 or 4 people camping. So that's kind of where I'm going. So if you're wondering why I'm not doing this or why I'm not doing that, it's what you may have need of, or what you would do to yours is not necessarily the same. So that's why if you think some things are too small, i.e. the battery bank, so to each his own. So and things change. I have an idea of what I want now, and is that could change and things may become different. But I don't think so. I think this is my 3rd van, and I think I know what I want by now. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the video. Thanks for watching, and next time we'll be installing that S-bar, Lord willing. We'll see you on the next video.